Alice Alvey is here with the legislative update. Alice, so good. Merry Christmas to you and Andy and your whole family. So glad to have you here. What do you have for us today?
Hi, Dave. What a great conversation today, by the way. How fun to have you live, Les. This is great.
I know it. Everybody.
Okay, a couple quick things. Couple of quick things. Don't forget, everybody, on last week's podcast, I talked a little bit about HUD's 203K proposed changes. These are great changes that we really want everyone to comment on, get on board with. Your comments are due by January 6th. So please take a look at those. HUD is proposing to increase the maximum rehab limit for the limited K. So this really does open up the program a little bit more. Please take a look at those and make sure you get your comments and feedback in to FHA. What's unique about this one is you have to go to their drafting table. If you just Google FHA drafting table, it'll be the first thing right there for you to be able to access and submit your comments on. Secondly is VA published a advance notice of proposed rulemaking. Comments are due by February 9th, so you have a good amount of time. But really, this is just great that the agencies, the government agencies, are looking at how they can give better access to home ownership with some of their standards that are very tight. And VA actually is proposing to use the Fannie and Freddie condition ratings and do away with their minimum property requirements. We all know that appraisals can be a sticking point with FHAs and VAs. So please, you have a little bit of time to work on that one. Check that out. It's VA's notice of proposed rulemaking for minimum property requirements and to really lighten up on that. So make sure you get out there and comment on both of those great changes for appraisals and government lending. And I think I've talked to you guys already about my predictions that you all wrote down, and now I have my next set for 2023 or 2024 to see what actually happens. So. And I've now written down that great line from Les, as homeowners have golden handcuffs with that interest rate. It's a great metaphor.
It's a great one. I love that one too. I agree with you, Alice. Appreciate it so much. Are you going to be home for Christmas? You traveling?
I am headed to Annapolis, where our family is, to spend some time there.
Oh, good. Safe travels. Traveling up
Dave,
to Seattle.
I have a question for Alice. For years, VA's appraisal standard was safe, sound, and sanitary. So it really was a minimal type of appraisal, in contrast to FHA. That was, they want to make sure the soffits were all fully repaired and you couldn't have any type of blemishes. Is it going to be a unified type of approach of HUD versus VA, or are they still going to be completely independent on the property valuation?
Yeah, I think between FHA and VA, they'll be completely independent. I haven't seen anything from HUD to come out, lighten up on their property standards. Yeah, this is VA looking to align more with Fannie and Freddie. We'll take that. And VA still has some quirky things. They publish in the rule. They have about 22 items like egress and ingress on septics. They still have some things that more closely align with FHA than they do with Fannie and Freddie.
Good stuff. Anything else? Mark, you have any comments, questions for Alice you want to add in?
In my past, David, I was an appraiser and a review appraiser. And I think it's real interesting about this FHA and VA thing, because I've always had a problem with FHA standards because we don't have those same hard standards in the conventional world. It hasn't posed an issue for us as we've gone down, because they come up with all kind of things in the conventional world we don't care about. And VA is on the other end of the spectrum. So I hope that some of that stuff gets worked out where it's a little better for the consumer down the road.
I agree. One of the things that I'm going to be, just listeners, be aware that we're going to have Alan Weiss on the podcast. He is the founder of Case Schiller. Great story. Alan and I have invested in several of his companies. I serve on a board of his, and he and I are partnering in a new venture together in the new year. And Alan got some really significant developments with Weiss Analytics. And so the founder of Case Schiller is going to be on talking about the future of appraisals, where it's going. It's really interesting. He's got a unique perspective now that he has a new product out that is just won some awards, and it's an AVM. He predicts that the AVMs are very soon going to be more accurate than the desk appraisals that we've been using for years. The rate of it, how quickly are the GSEs going to adopt them? And certainly then you have FHA, which is, again, another topic, as you guys have pointed out.
There's other things going on in the appraisal valuation area, is that they're now using aerial photos and using drones to be able, and it with certain lights, you can actually get the more accurate dimensions of the homes. They can be then forwarded into the appraisals. There's some technologies that are now available, and they're using AI to apply it into
Yes.
the, so I don't, we're not, it's not going to be like your MI or MAI appraisals of the very historic past, but it's going to be pretty cool stuff that's coming down the pike on technology on.
Especially in the appraisal area. I think there's going to be some wonderful technology. Again, things that Pavan is doing with Angel AI, significant movements that are not just little micro steps, but moving the ball a little bit, significant quantum leaps on that, especially
I
when it
had
comes to decisions.
another question on compliance for Alice. There's seen this hiccup that we just had, and I thought Alan was on the line, but this on the, and because I'd like his perspective too, but what we just recently had at Mr. Cooper and with Fidelity, it seemed to really show that there's systemic problems in our industry still, but that brought it really to light. And it made me think that there's going to be increased scrutiny on vendors, even more than what we've been seeing, and maybe start moving in the independent mortgage banking world more into the banking world in terms of the requirements for vendors. Are you hearing anything like that? What's your thoughts on vendor compliance and management?
We used to talk about that a lot, Dave. I don't know if you remember when all those rules came out. That was a big topic on the show for a long time, that lenders really were not getting it on how detailed it is and how many resources you have to dedicate to the IT needs and really make sure they're out in front of it. And it's hard to be in front of the bad guys because as soon as we figure out what they're doing, they go invent something new. I haven't heard anything new coming up now, but that's not to say there isn't, because really what's out there today is something I think lenders need to take a good hard look at on how well they're staying in compliance with it.